35岁，大龄未婚，我打算退出相亲市场啦。姐姐不跟你们玩啦。35岁多好的年龄，要样貌有样貌，要身材有身材，有一点小钱，情绪价值又高，又温柔，又体贴，又懂事，又不作，怎么就不好啦？天天被你们诋毁的，我都有点怀疑自我了。哼，退出相亲市场，重拾信心。
我89年，今年36岁，早已过了而立之年。
I was born in 1989, and I'm 36 years old this year, well past the age of establishing a career and family. My friends around me have all gotten married, their families are happy, and their children are already quite grown up. Yet I'm still single, all by myself. Back in my 20s, I actually looked pretty decent, and there were quite a few people who liked me. If I had wanted to find someone I liked and get married back then, it would have been quite easy. But after turning 35, my age has become my biggest issue. This age, it's indeed hard to find someone truly suitable to marry. But if I don't get married, it feels a bit abnormal, and I'm afraid that no one will take care of me when I get old. My parents keep telling me to lower my expectations when it comes to choosing a partner, to adjust my mindset, and that finding an average, decent guy would be good enough. Looking forward to finding someone I like in 2025.
有些小姑娘啊，真的是太把自己给当回事儿了吧。
Some young women really take themselves way too seriously, huh? Today, a 39-year-old young lady came to our matchmaking agency and asked me to find her a husband. Although she's very beautiful, 1.73 meters tall, with a great figure, and has that kind of elegant aura. She's well-maintained and looks about 30 years old. But as soon as she arrived, she told me, my future husband must meet the following requirements. First, the man must have bought property in the city center, fully paid in cash, and he must own at least 3 apartments. Before marriage, all 3 properties must have her name added. Second, after getting married, she wants to be a full-time housewife, but she won't do any housework herself. A nanny must be hired. The husband is responsible for earning money and supporting the family, while she is responsible for being beautiful and graceful. Third, after marriage, she won't meet with or interact with her in-laws, and she won't be responsible for supporting them in their old age. Fourth, the man must remember every holiday that can be celebrated, because she values a sense of ritual. Her ex-boyfriend broke up with her simply because he forgot to celebrate one of those holidays. Fifth, after marriage, the man must cut off all contact with women who are not family. Sixth, the man's entire salary must be handed over to her, because her best friend's husband lets his wife manage all the finances. Seventh, the man must look young. It's okay if he's older, but he can't look old. As for height, he must be at least 1.78 meters tall, and he must not be overweight. Ideally, he should have a regular fitness routine, only then can he meet her standards. After hearing all her demands, I immediately tried to talk her out of it. Your requirements are completely beyond my capability. You'd better go find someone on your own. This kind of young woman doesn't just have a ton of requirements, she's also extremely picky. A client who acts like she's some kind of empress? Whoever wants to serve her, go ahead. I'm not doing it.
我相过2次亲，一次这个人他觉得我的工作不是一份正经的职业。
I'm a print model, and I've been on 2 blind dates. The first time, the guy thought my job wasn't a proper profession, and even went as far as to label me, as a person, as improper. At that moment, I really wanted to snap back at him. Do you seriously believe I couldn't support your whole family on my own? The second time, that guy also questioned the nature of my work. He felt that no matter how well I did in this industry, there was no future in it, and said I was just living off my youth. What I remember most clearly was one time I got off work and went home. I wasn't doing well during that period, work wasn't going smoothly, and I was emotionally low and anxious. Yet he said, completely casually, "What's the point of being anxious? You'd be better off thinking about how to make tastier meals and how to tidy up the house better." I remember it was sometime last year, around then I was especially eager to get married. Maybe it was because I was in a rough patch, and work wasn't going well either, so I really hoped someone could pull me out of that emotional swamp. But in the end, no one pulled me out. Instead, I jumped into an even deeper pit. I even secretly went to an offline matchmaking agency, and I didn't tell anyone about it. But when I got there, the matchmaker told me I had to pay extra at my age. She said, Don't think that just because you're earning more now and you have good conditions, you're something special. I admit you're excellent, but at the age of 34, you're just not in demand in the dating market. These days, people are only looking for young and beautiful women. I got scolded so badly on the spot, but honestly, it woke me up. Another time, my mom tried to introduce me to a guy who worked at a big tech company. Because I'm 1.75 meters tall, and that guy was only about 1.72 meters, I was a bit reluctant. I didn't expect my mom's first reaction to be, "You're already 34, do you even know if he'd be willing to look at you?" I really don't understand. I really don't understand why the dating market has become like this. Ever since then, I decided I'd never go on another blind date again. Even if someone tries everything to trick me or scam me in the future, I won't take that path again. The current dating market just disgusts me. I've spent so many years growing and bettering myself, just so those unworthy men wouldn't dare come near me. But in the end I found out, I still had to stick myself onto a pile of shit, and even start wondering whether I was the shit to begin with. Why? Am I not worthy of meeting a man as excellent as I am? All I ask is for a man who's over 1.8 meters tall, who earns no less than I do, and someone I genuinely feel attracted to. I like men with charisma. Is it really so hard to meet these simple criteria? I'm not someone who's against marriage, and I'm not someone who insists on getting married either. I'm someone who believes in happiness. I've worked so hard to take care of myself, and from today onward, I will never again allow trashy men to drag me back into the swamp. Never again.
天哪，cùng我40歲老 baby 真的冇來找我。
I really need to say something from the bottom of my heart. Those women over 40 who have never been married, please, I'm begging you, stop coming to me for matchmaking help. If your conditions are average and your looks aren't particularly outstanding, then let me be honest with you. It's really, really hard to find you a perfect match. Even my peers in this industry are unwilling to take on your cases. So what can I possibly do? Everyone knows I've always been straightforward and don't like beating around the bush. If I speak too harshly, I'm afraid you'll be hurt. If I speak too gently, I'm afraid you won't get the point. So I'll just say it clearly. I'm really not willing to take on single women over 40 anymore. Just take a recent example. A woman born in 1985 came to consult with me. She works at a tea house and earns about 3,500 yuan a month. There's nothing particularly special about her, just an average middle-aged woman, a bit on the chubby side. I asked her what kind of partner she was looking for. She said she hoped for someone with slightly better financial conditions, someone a few years older would be fine, mainly someone to rely on in old age. I asked her, why didn't you look for someone when you were younger? She said she did, but just never found the right one. Now that she's getting older and has seen too many videos online about growing old alone, she's starting to panic, afraid of ending up without a partner, without children, facing a bleak future. Last year, she went on more than 10 blind dates, but didn't like a single one. She either thought the guy was too ugly, too poor, or didn't want someone with kids because of the baggage. She admitted herself that having children is no longer something she's considering. After all, her age is what it is. So tell me, what kind of man am I supposed to introduce to her? Her own conditions are limited, but she hasn't lowered her standards at all. I summed up her requirements. No ugly men, no poor men, no one with heavy family burdens, and no older men. Then let me ask, what is a man supposed to see in you? When a man looks for a woman, there has to be something he values, right? Maybe youth, maybe beauty, maybe the ability to have children. But she doesn't have any of these. I honestly don't even know where to start. So I'm sincerely asking women over 40 who are still single, please stop coming to me for matchmaking. So I can only offer one piece of advice. While you can still work, try to earn more money. When you get older, move into a nicer nursing home so at least you can have a decent quality of life. If you still want to get married, do it sooner rather than later. Things past their expiration date, no matter how good they once were, are hard for anyone to want.
我是91年的34，至今还没对象。
I was born in 1991, and I'm 34 years old this year. To this day, I still haven't had a stable relationship, and I'm not married. To be honest, at this age, I'm already considered past the prime dating age back in my hometown. Over the past 2 years, every time I went back home to visit family, no one enthusiastically tried to set me up on blind dates anymore. My parents also rarely bring up marriage now, partly because they probably feel there's no use pushing me anymore, and partly because they've also seen that many people who do get married aren't necessarily happy. Actually, I'm not someone who's against marriage. I've had a few serious relationships in the past, but due to various practical reasons, none of them worked out in the end. And just like that, time slipped by and I suddenly found myself at this age. In my heart, I'm actually very conflicted. On one hand, I do long to get married, to have a little family of my own. After all, humans are social creatures. No matter how independent you are, you'll still want emotional belonging. And let's be real, I'm not that young anymore, and reality is starting to push me to make a choice. But on the other hand, I'm afraid of rushing into a bad relationship, of being drained, dragged down, or even ending up worse off than if I had stayed single. Especially after seeing some people around me who are clearly unhappy in their marriages, it really makes me hesitant. Right now, my age puts me in a really awkward position. If I look for someone younger, they probably won't even consider me. If I look for someone the same age, most men my age are already married, and their kids are probably in elementary school. If I look for someone older, then they might be divorced, have children, or even come with other issues. Reality is honestly quite harsh. In fact, I was already thinking about marriage when I was 25 or 26. But for all kinds of reasons and unexpected twists, time just kept dragging on, and before I knew it, I ended up here today. Even I don't know how I managed to reach this age and still remain unmarried. I know there must be reasons on my part for still being single. But sometimes when I look back, I can't help but sigh. Where did it all go wrong?
35岁的单身女生还能不能结得了婚？
The night before last, I posted a video online and asked everyone a question. As a 35-year-old single woman like me, is it still possible to get married? Is there still a chance to meet an ideal partner? To my surprise, the comment section immediately exploded, and in a short amount of time, I received over 2,000 replies. What impressed me the most was that almost everyone's answers in the comments were strikingly consistent. Of course, you can still get married, as long as you're willing to lower your standards. It's not that hard to find someone to simply live life with. But if you're still holding on to the fantasy of finding your ideal partner, then that's basically just wishful thinking. To be honest, I agree with that viewpoint. I certainly understand that, with my past standards for choosing a partner, someone who is 1.8 meters tall, handsome, well-educated, owns a car and a house, that kind of perfect man definitely wouldn't choose me now. Back when I was in my 20s, I actually had pretty clear and specific standards for what I wanted in a partner. I had about 4 main criteria at the time. First, his appearance had to be the type I liked. Not that he had to look like Daniel Wu or be a super good-looking guy, but at the very least, his looks and overall vibe had to be something I was attracted to. Second, he had to be a person of good character and have the right values. Third, I hoped he would be someone with a strong sense of responsibility and ambition. Fourth, I hoped he would have a certain level of earning ability and financial foundation. But now that I'm 35, I've actually adjusted my standards and only kept the first 3. That said, to be honest, when it comes to the fourth point, financial conditions, even though I no longer strictly require it, I still tend to consider it a bit in real life. So I want to ask everyone, with the standards I have now, are they still considered high? Do I need to lower them even further to be more realistic?
To all the older single women who still want to get married, listen up, I'm going to tell you the truth. It's not unreasonable for you, being 1.6 meters tall, to want a boyfriend who is 1.75 meters tall. It's not unreasonable for you, making $10,000 a month, to want a boyfriend who makes $20,000 a month. It's not unreasonable for you, owning a car and a house, to want a boyfriend who also owns a car and a house. It's not unreasonable for you, with a bachelor's degree, to want a boyfriend with either a bachelor's or a master's degree. But if you're 30 years old and you still want a man who is 32 or 33, then that's unreasonable. Because a man in his 30s who makes $20,000 a month, has a bachelor's degree, and owns a car and a house, he is not going to be interested in you, nor would he choose a woman your age. And you might say, I'm actually better than those younger girls. But sorry, she's younger than you. You might also say, those young girls don't have money. But sorry, she's younger than you. Or maybe you'll say, I have a car and house, she doesn't. But that young girl, she's younger than you. Age is irreversible. Age is a woman's advantage. And besides, if a man already owns property, why would he need so many more cars and houses? To pay another mortgage? Or to pay one more property tax in the future? Do you think that aside from your age, everything else about you is a plus? I'll admit that too. But men simply prefer younger women. Men work hard to make money just so they can find a young and beautiful woman. Men without money have no choice. But for men who do have money, can you really say it's too much for them to choose like this? It can't be helped. Age is just not kind to women, just like money is not kind to men. Do you agree with what I said? Feel free to leave your honest opinion in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. See you in the next one.